All right, guys, welcome back or welcome to another episode with Running for Views. So today we're going to be talking about heart rate zone training for ultra runners. So really quick, before we get into it, I am not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm nothing like that. I'm just a normal runner who has done a lot of research on heart rate zone training. All right, guys, so the heart rate zones that we're going to be talking about today are the 1 through 5 heart rate zones. There also is a 1 through 3, but we're just going to be focusing on the 1 through 5 because that's what Killian uses. And we all know that anything that Killian uses is the greater one. All right, so really quick, zone 1 is known as easy or recovery. Zone 2 is anaerobic or base. Zone 3 is tempo, Zone 4 is threshold, and Zone 5 is anaerobic. So before I started trying to follow a heart rate zone training plan, I was mostly doing all of my runs in Zone 4 and 5, which is not good at all. I would not recommend you doing that. And it led to not a lot of good performances by me. So I would not recommend you doing this. I was running, I think that consistently on any day of the week, my heart rate was in the 160 to 170 range. So that is not good. Do not do that. All right, guys, so I'm just gonna throw up my heart rate zones right here so you can check these out. So as you can see, for zone 1, I have anything below 133. So as long as I'm staying below the heart rate of 133, then I am in zone 1. So runners like Killian, like Jacob Ingebrigtsen, are both following heart rate zone training plans. So you should definitely be doing this as well. All right, so let's start out with zone 1. So zone 1 is just easy pace. It's just what you're going to be doing most of your workouts in. So this means that you are just going to be focusing on running slow and steady and keeping your heart rate down as much as you can. So I would say that right now my zone 1 running pace is around like a 10-minute mile or like a 10:30 to 11. But anyways, I'm hoping that over time, as I continue to run at zone 1 with a little bit more in zone 3 and 4, that I'll be able to continue to bring down this pace like Killian, like Jacob Ingebrigtsen, and like the great names of the running sport. So I don't know if you guys saw this article, but one recently came out that showed Killian's heart rate zone training. So he actually does 58% of his training in zone 1 every year. So that is a lot of training in zone 1. And for people like you and me, we should be doing even more working out in zone 1 than Killian is, because he's racing, he's having to push more into the higher zones to train for races. We're not racing multiple times a year like Killian is, so we need to be doing a lot of zone 1 training. So this means doing probably 60 to 70% of all of your workouts in zone 1. All right, so next up we have zone 2. So my zone 2, as you can see, is 134 to 146. So you should be doing a total of around 15% of your training in zone 2. And this is mainly from when you're in zone 1 and just happen to creep up into that zone 2. So you should mostly be focused on doing zone 1. And if you accidentally hop up into zone 2, that should account for about 15% of your weekly time spent in zone 2. All right, so next up we got zone 3. So zone 3 for me is 147 to 159. So for zone 3, about 10% of your weekly or yearly volume should be done in zone 3, depending on whether you're training for a race or if you're focusing on base building, it'll be different. But overall, within the span of a year, only 10% of your training should be in zone 3. So this means, for example, doing a tempo run, this will mostly all be in zone 3. Also, if you've checked out any of my other videos about training, you'll see that tempo runs and hill bounding are the two things that you're going to be doing in zone 3. Then when you're preparing for a race, this should basically be the only time that you're getting up into zone 4. So this means that you're going to be pushing yourself pretty hard. You're going to be going into a zone that you shouldn't be very comfortable with, so keep that in mind. And about 5% of your weekly or yearly volume should be in zone 4. Lastly, we have zone 5. So this is the no-no zone. You do not want to go anaerobic while you are working out, because that is not good for you, and you should not be pushing yourself that hard every day or even every week. The only way that you should be pushing yourself up into zone 5 is if you're racing. So that's your one excuse, remember that. So when I was doing training without following any heart rate zone data or anything like that, I was mostly in zone 4 and zone 5. So I could have gotten injured, I could have pushed myself too hard. It could have been really bad. And I think that's why I wasn't doing as good as I think I could do in races. So just make sure that you keep that in mind. All right, guys, so zone 5 is anything above 173. So this is the no-no zone. This is what you do not want to go into if you are training. You do not want to go anaerobic just on a normal training day or even on a speed workout. You should only be pushing yourself into this zone if you are racing, and even then, most of the professionals are not pushing themselves into this zone, so just keep that in mind. All right, guys, so that wraps up this video. Let me know if you guys liked it. Leave in the comments if you have any questions for me about heart rate training, and I will hopefully be able to help you out. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, not a scientist, nothing like that, but I will try my best to help you out and will do the research. I hope you guys like this video. If you do, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that stuff, and I will see you next time. Bye.